Before we get started, though, let's put the disclaimer out there just to let you know that we are a software technology firm. We are not an investment advisory firm, so the symbols that I'm going to talk about today and show you should not be construed as trading advice. It's rather educational information. One thing that we're super proud of is we were recently recognized as a best-in-class winner for the first annual Benzinga FinTech Awards. It was really based on a combination of panelists in the industry as well as social media votes. So we're super proud of this and really happy that other people are starting to see what we've known for the last 13 years. We have incredible technology. Our technology scans the market in real time. It looks at every single tick of the market, creates statistical baselines of what's normal behavior, and then provides you, the end user, the ability to really find the types of trading patterns and ideas that you're looking for to be able to make a real informed trading decision. Into the agenda today, as I was talking about, we're going to do a little bit of an overview of the product. I'm going to talk a little bit about the different windows that we have, the different ways to view the data, some of the channels that really light up the data and bring it right to you without having to know the nitty-gritty of configuration. But then, a lot of people really want to know how to set the software up, and everybody knows that we're fantastic at spotting real-time events, but what a lot of people don't know is that we can model events over a longer period of time as well, utilizing the real-time market action to send that trigger to your desktop for notification, but all the while looking at a longer-term pattern and making sure that some longer-term pattern is set up in place so that the opportunity doesn't necessarily present itself for only a day trade, but also potential swing opportunities. So a lot of different ways to use trade ideas, and I hope to show you another idea about that today as well. I'm also going to show you a feature in here called alert logging, and this isn't for everybody. It's a little bit of a tidbit for people that want to they have an alert window set up and they want to send in real time this data to an Excel CSV file for manipulation, for reviewing the data and such. So I'll show you how that can be done, and we'll take some questions. So we'll try to keep it to about a 30-minute on my part, and then we'll go right into some discussion. So my partner Dan Merkin is also manning the chat board here, so if you have any questions you can go ahead and type them in and he'll get to them. If you want to wait till later in the presentation to ask some questions, I'll be able to get to those as well. So let me just dig right into the software, which is my favorite part of the tool. Like I said, we're sitting here listening to everything that's happening in the market, and the idea is to deliver real actionable results to you so that you can sit there, make an informed trading decision, and act on it without having to do all this incredible research. So we're like a trading assistant to you. We're like 1,000 pairs of eyes, always sitting there listening for events taking place. And inside of trade ideas, so I'm going to show you this part that we're looking at on this left part of my monitor is trade ideas. The part on the right is a third-party charting application. I've got that up here just to show you the visual reference of these signals that come through. It's also important to note that, and I'll talk a little bit about it more later in the presentation, but that we are in the process of including charts, our own proprietary charts, in the software product. 2 to 3 months out for our beta release. Super excited about that. Just to give you, I'm not even going to give you a taste of it yet, but just to know, this is not ours right here. This is the Trade Ideas application. I'm starting off here with our welcome screen, and the welcome screen can be found if you go to the Tools option up here. The welcome screen allows you to do a variety of different things. It allows you to pull in our workspaces that we call channels, and we have a variety of different channels that we've put together and we've curated that give you an instant access of these various views of the market. So all you really need to do is if you click on the social media channel, which is what's up right now, it's going to open up a variety of different window components, all pre-configured the way that we have it set up to really give you a great view of the tip of the spear of what's happening in the market as it pertains to that theme. And if you're looking and talking about the social media theme, everything that's presented in all of the different windows have some component of a social media filter being employed. So we connect directly to the exchanges to get in all of our market data, but we also connect to other third-party vendors, and one of those being stocked with. So we receive their data in real time and allow you to filter that and combine that with the other market data to really give you a view of the market that's very, very unique. But that's just one of the channels. And I have, if I move this out of the way, you can see the different views that I have where I'm looking for unusual social movers, a variety of different activities taking place with respect to social activity, other notifications, drilling down right into volume as it pertains to all the stocks that are being talked about, an unusual amount on social media. So giving you all these different views on that one channel, but I can go into any type of channel. I could drill right into our pre-market channel, which I can do right here, which is going to load up a variety of windows that are set up to view the market in a, before you sit down and before the market opens, you're going to take a look at the gappers, what stocks are moving on volume, and then you could just go right into another channel. And we were at that social media channel before, but they load up pretty quickly and give you that flavor of what's going on. I'm going to load back up the welcome screen here just to show you some of the different elements of this screen. So this was the channel, the workspace view of the different channels that we have, but then you can click on the strategies tab, and this is going to give you a breakdown of some pre-configured strategies that we've put together. And we have 3 different window types that you can pull these strategies from. The alert window, which gives you a real-time event notification. When something occurs, it's going to pop right to the top of that line and it's going to give you a notification. In this case, CADC just made a new high and it's going to trigger that event. And we also have top list windows, and the top list windows give you a ranked list of stocks based upon all the filtered criteria that you have. Very, very powerful window. You can manipulate the window. This is a top list window right here. All the data points in here can be sorted in addition to the original filtering that's taking place. So if I was to take a look at this unusual social up movers and find the stocks that have the most cash, I can just quickly sort on it and pull that up. We have a lot of very unique data points inside of trade ideas as well, and one of these data points I'm going to use in the configuration of the strategy later, but that would be the position in the year range. So very quickly, without pulling it up on a chart, I can see that SAGE is on its high for the year. AMCN is on its high for the year, in addition to being talked about a crazy amount today. If I had a big list, I could sort it right here and automatically bring to the top of my list the stocks that are on their year high or the stocks that are on their year low, and that's without even pulling it up. So that's the top list. And then I have what we call our multi-strategy window, and the multi-strategy window is this window up here that has many different alert configurations, all very unique strategies, all combined into a single window. So now I have 20 plus strategies all working in real time in this tiny little window here, just simply listening for the event to take place. And when it takes place, it'll populate here in the window. I can pull it up on a chart, make my trading decision right then and there. So in addition to having the variety of different pre-configured strategies from the welcome screen, you can also pull up any one of the windows and start configuring it yourself and really start rolling your sleeves up and doing that. We'll do that in a little bit. And then, of course, there's some help on here. So right from the application, you can get some video help or be taken to our support forum where we have an incredible trading forum where people are trading and talking about trades all day long, utilizing the Trade Ideas technology for those signals. It's just a very nice environment, so I encourage you all to check it out. So that's the welcome screen. Some of the other channels that we have, this is one of our favorites. We do keep records of the channels that people go to just so that we know when something's getting out of favor and not. And so in a situation that the winners channel is probably one of the most used channels in addition to the surge. So a lot of the bullish activity really kind of rises to the top here. But in this particular channel, in the winners channel, you really get a view of all the stocks that are doing well over a variety of different time frames. And like I was saying earlier, the ability to manipulate the data in a top list window is super powerful. This happens to be a much bigger list, so the biggest gainers today is a much larger list, but I can do this sorting, which really brings information right to the top. So if I want to see the stocks that have had the biggest change since January 1st, which is a unique data point to Trade Ideas, you can do that. If you want to find stocks that are trading the most volume today in comparison to their normal volume, you can look at the relative volume data point. So DSKX is trading 46 times its normal volume today, and that's cumulative through the end of the day. But it's a super powerful filter when you're looking at it in real time and when the market's going. So that's really the power. I mean, you can use this tool as a scanning tool after market to find opportunities for the next day, or as a news reporting tool, but the real power is utilizing this during the day to find these opportunities that are happening, right when they're happening, so you can get the best possible price. One of the newer channels that we have that we just brought out is our drought channel, and I'm out here in California. Out in California, we're having a pretty severe water shortage, and as a result, there are a variety of different companies out there that are, whether it's technology or just physical companies that are doing something pertaining to this, and it offers great opportunity. So we put together a channel with a lot of these names in here that have to do with the water industry. So it's something, if you want to just drill into that channel very quickly, you can get a feel of the stocks that are doing well in that particular space, the stocks that aren't doing well, or where opportunity exists. So utilizing the channel bar, it's a great way to peruse the market, to get ideas. It's also a great way to see how we've configured these particular windows. We've set these windows up, the professionals that trade ideas, and so very easy to see how we put the filters in place to generate some of the signals. And in every window here, you can really kind of uncover the window just by right-clicking in the window and selecting Configure to really see how exactly is this window configured. And here's a window that's really not configured with any filters, but is utilized in a sort order to generate the list of stocks in the window. A lot of different ways to use the technology. But what I want to do right now is I want to show you how to create a strategy from scratch, really kind of from a concept. And I think the symbol that I had in the PowerPoint that we were going to try to model was something like WRES. And so let me go ahead and cancel out of here. Make this a little bit bigger. And really the time frame that I'm looking for is something more on the daily time frame like we're looking at right here. Something that has really been beaten up over a period of time. I don't know so much about a consolidation. I'm not going to model that in right now, but it's been beaten up. But what's happening today is really showing some life. It's really starting to come out of that bottom of the range and starting to do so on volume. And I want volume to be the catalyst in a move like that. So the idea here is to show you how to use our filters that everybody kind of knows how to do in a real-time sense. Like if you want to see a stock that's up over the last 5 minutes or 15 minutes, that's pretty intuitive to do. But modeling a longer-term pattern might not be. So that's what I want to do, and let's do that. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is I just want to open up a new, and I can do this in fact, I'm going to do it in both a top list and alert window to show you how we can use both these windows to our advantage, and they're going to give us a little bit of a different feel, as we're trading during the day. But let's start off with the top list window, and let's just start off from scratch so that I don't have any filters in place, I don't have any columns, I really don't have anything that I want to do. So the first thing is we need to set up the filters here that are going to paint the picture of that chart pattern that we were looking at over here. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to utilize, this is a 200-day SMA, I want to utilize some of our SMA filters to show kind of how the stock has been moving over a period of time. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to say the change from the 200-day SMA. And we're going to do this in percent. We could do it in either one because I'm not going to make a big value. I'm just going to mandate that the stock is below its 200-day SMA. Just going to add the filter, and I'm going to put a value in here. I'm just going to say it needs to be below the SMA, so I'm just going to put a very, very small value. I don't even really need to put 0.1. We can leave it like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and hide unused. It's just going to make this demonstration a little bit easier so I don't have all of the filters in place here. All right, so another thing that I want to do is we're looking at this longer term time period. So because it's a longer term time period, I want to use my position in the year range. I know that if I look at something like this, it's going to be at the lower end of the year range. And when you're talking about a range, we have ranges on all different time frames inside of trade ideas. The position in day range, which would be where is that stock right now in relationship to its intraday high and low. But we also have these ranges over different time periods, minutes, but also over the year. So we're going to do the, we're going to start off with the position in year range. And let's go ahead and add this filter. Like I said, we want to keep it at the bottom, and these numbers can be massaged a little bit, but let's just start with something like 15. So we know it's going to be in that lower 15 percentile. Could be 20, but let's keep it down at 15. Let's also make sure that we have a significant enough year range, and we can do that by saying let's the change in the year. So change in 1 year, and on a percentage basis, if we add that filter right there, we could say the stock has to be down, I don't know, 20%, something like that. It could be 10, 15. We're just going to start with something like that. And again, when we're modeling this stuff, it's just all we're trying to do is generalize here when we're putting these numbers in, and then we can start to refine it as we start to run a history and really look at the results that have triggered and generated in this particular strategy. Okay, so we've got that in here. Let's also say that today, we know today there has to be a couple things happening. There has to be volume in it, and it also should be positive, right? It should be maybe above yesterday at least and positive. So let's go ahead and let's just do a simple filter here like the change from the close. And let's just do that on a percentage basis and add the filter. Let's just say it needs to be up 0.5%. And we also, let's just say we need this thing to be at the 20 period or above it. So now we're looking at some disparity between the 200 period SMA and the 20 period SMA. And I hope I'm not losing a bunch of you guys, but this is just showing you how you can layer filters to paint the picture of what chart pattern that you're trying to emulate, and you're not quite sure how to do it. You can shoot us an image and the time frame when you're looking to enter into something like that, and we can offer some of the filters to use to create that pattern or that setup that you're looking for. So we're going to make sure that it's we're changing from the close here, but now let's go back to that 20-day SMA. And here, let's just go to percent. I think that's the easiest one to use. And if we just said that it has to be above the 20-day SMA, I could put, I don't know, I could put a 0 here. That's fine. So we'll just put a 0 there to make sure that it's above that. We know that there also has to be volume in that. We were talking about needing to have some type of catalyst. So the relative volume happens to be my favorite filter inside of trade ideas, one of our best derived data points, because, like I said, at any given time during the day, we can tell what kind of volume it's doing compared to normal. Values of 2 and 3 are super significant. When a stock is doing 2 or 3 times volume, you start to get these types of volume bars, you know, that are very, very significant in a move. So let's go ahead and add that filter, and let's say it needs to be at least 2.5 times normal volume. So we've got real significant volume happening today. And also, I want to make sure that, you know, over the last 5 days, over the last week, the stock is up. So change in 5 days. So let's add that filter right there, and it doesn't really matter what it's up. So let's just say the minimum has to be 0.01%. That's just kind of my way of saying it's got to be positive over the last 5 days. And then always you should put a price and volume filter. I'm going to say average daily volume for the last 5 days. Let's just do something like 200,000 shares. So I'm kind of thinking and talking out loud as I'm going through this, but that's the process that I go through when I start to build these strategies. And before I do that, I often look at the chart and say, okay, what about this chart here? Knowing the data points that we have, and that's kind of critical too. You know, what about this chart here can I try to emulate based on the data points that we have? I don't think I put a price in here, so let's just do that as well. And I think that's about all that we need to do to try to generate something here. So let's just make sure the exchanges are selected. Symbol list, we're looking at everything. The columns, I do need to add some columns here. So let's add symbol, company name. We can add all this stuff. That's all right. And then hit OK. and we're going to call this beaten up over the year showing life. Okay, so what we have now is we have a top list, and the top list is really looking at it at the market close, and these are the stocks that really met that criteria. And we can kind of, if we just kind of cycle through them, we'll take a look at the chart, this one here in particular, this bottom guy, and just kind of see how these look. All right, so that's okay. That's looking like that's a potential opportunity. That looks pretty much like WRES that we pulled up. And that's the idea, right? We configured this to try to find something like WRES, which happened to be here, and it found another one that's very, very similar. Boy, that one looks similar too. As I just cycle through them. I don't know about that one, you know, but that's where it comes to your discretion. So for the most part, these are all showing the types of setup that I'm trying to emulate. So I'm pretty pleased with the way that worked out. Now this was a top list, so that's one way to look at the data, and you can have this thing, you know, running in real time through the day, and it's going to, every 30 seconds this list is going to update, and you can sort it in a variety of different things. Like for instance, if you let me just add another column here, and we'll just do the position and day range. I really like this column because as the market's moving, you can really sort on it. And so if I have it right here, now you can see the stocks that really closed up towards their high of the day, and then, you know, you do a reverse sort. Nothing really closed on their low of the day. This one was kind of in the middle of the range, you know, but this little data point, and it can be graphical like it is, or you can right-click in here and uncheck graphical indicator and get that numerical value. Remember, this is a filter, so you can use these data points here to create some type of filter. And if I go in here and I say configure, and a little trick is if you, well, where is it? Oh, I don't have a filter on there yet. But if I go in here to position and day range, and now I say I only want to see these stocks when it's above, say, 75%, in that upper 25 percentile. So if I hit OK here, now I just got rid of a variety of results, and you're going to look at this column here, and nothing is going to be below 75. So that's kind of, if you pull away the graphics, that's how the math works right there. So let me go ahead, I'm going to take that filter off. That was just for demonstration. And let's turn this one into an alert window. So what I want to do here is I'm just going to right-click, and this is kind of a trick. We don't document this, but right-click in it, select Collaborate, go to Copy, and we're going to come over here. We're going to go File, and I'm going to open up a new alert window. And I'm just going to hit OK, so it doesn't really matter what comes up. I now have an alert window, and I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to go to Collaborate. And in my clipboard, I have the collaboration string from this window. I'm just going to paste it. So now I've got beaten up over a year. Now the window's not ready to use, but all my filters are in there, which is what I wanted. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and right-click in this here. And I want to be alerted to this. This is a pretty easy alert. I want to be alerted to this when the stock starts to make a new high. That's the trigger event that I want to see to have that brought to my window. So I'm going to take off this. By default, there needs to be some type of alert in here. So it selects heartbeat if you don't have anything selected. But I'm going to select the new high event. If I go to my filters, you can see that I have all the same filters that I had in place in the top list window. Same exchanges, symbol list, same column, so everything's the same, but now I have an event that's got to occur for that symbol to appear. So if I hit OK here, and I hit OK, now I have an alert window, but I'm sorry, I need to go back in and I need to add a couple columns, because when you do a transfer from a top list window to an alert, you're missing a few things. So I'm missing the type and I'm missing the time. So now, let me bring those over here. All right, so now I have a window that's looking for new high events. I'm going to go ahead and run a history on that for today, so you can see that had you been watching this, you know, what events would have occurred. So let's do that. Let's scroll down a little bit. I'm on the West Coast, so we end at 1 o'clock, so this is right at the end. But if I go back a couple hours here, you know, I can see at 11 o'clock, this guy here would have alerted me to at that 1460 price point as it started to make that new high. Now, this is late in the day. I don't know if any of those moves were great, but as you start to go back earlier and apply those filters, these are where the opportunities really present themselves. So this is a good way, using the filters that we have to be able to model a longer-term type of pattern. So let me go ahead and I'm going to bring Scott back in. During these webinars, we generally have some specials that we like to provide. So I'm going to bring Scott back, and he can talk about those.
Thanks, Brad. Sorry, I was on mute for a sec. I was on mute for a second there.
That's okay.
Yeah, so we're running a 30% offer today for everyone that's attended. This takes your first month down from $75 to $52.50, or you can try the starter month that we normally charge $99 for $69.30. Get a lifetime oddsmaker subscription for $770 rather than $1,100. The product code is QAWebinar15, all caps. You can use that on checkout, and again, that applies to an order total. So go ahead and add a subscription and the oddsmaker in there and save 30% on both. We also have an even better deal for those of you who see the value of trade ideas. Why get billed month to month when you can get the full year and save over 52%? You can get the year of trade ideas, which is normally $628, the lifetime oddsmaker license for $1,100. You get the combination of that for $899. That's less than a cup of Starbucks coffee per day. And to get to that deal, use the bit.ly link that you see highlighted there. So you can type bit.ly/899saver into your browser and get to the page. I will also email everyone that attends. You'll receive an automated email from GoToWebinar with the product code about an hour after the webinar ends, and also a link to this deal. We usually don't record these webinars. If you attend our Trade of the Week webinar and you're signed up for that, those are recorded and replays are sent out to everyone that attends. Before I get back to Brad real quick, let's show the code again for the previous slide, QA Webinar 15, and I'm going to put up a poll if y'all could just oblige us with answering the question, and it's essentially whether or not if you're attending as a subscriber or not. So that should be launching on your screens now. Leave that up for a moment. Just let us know if you're currently a Trade Ideas subscriber or not while you're attending this. That will help us fine-tune some of the future webinars. Okay. I see a little over half, probably 60-40 split here, and that's pretty typical for the webinars we've had so far. I have another poll I'm going to put up quickly, and this is a question that we haven't really asked our audiences yet, and that's, are you okay with allowing artificial intelligence to assist your trading decisions? In other words, are you comfortable letting technology like Trade Ideas strongly influence the decisions that you make when you trade? Wow. Yeah, it's looking like over 85% of the attendees agree that they would allow an AI to assist with trading. That's interesting. Yeah, thanks guys. Again, we have the 30% code, which is QA Webinar 15, and that's going to work until Friday. And the $899 deal you can get to by going to bit.ly/899saver.com. And hopefully Dan's already dropped that link into the chat. If not, I will as soon as I drop off. Back to you, Brad.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. I see a couple. I have not been looking at the question board here, but I do see a couple. I did kind of take a peek right now, and Jim, let me get the strategies for you and everybody else. What I'll do gives me a great opportunity to also talk about the way that we share these windows, save these windows, and retain all this information, and we do it via the cloud. I'm going to go ahead and save these to our cloud. Everybody has their own individual cloud, but any setting that they have saved to theirs can also be shared with other people. And when you're saving a window, you can either save a single window, you can save a couple windows, which is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to save, I'm going to take it out of history mode, but I'm going to save the top list in the alert window that we just made to a single cloud link, and you'll just be able to load this into your setting into your trade ideas as well. So as I scroll down here, I've got two windows, beaten up over the year, which is a top list window denoted by the T, and then I have the beaten up over the year, which is in history mode. Most likely when you bring this back in, it's going to be in history mode. You'll need to, well, here, let me put it in real-time mode. That way I'm saving it the right way. All right, so now I'm going to go to Save to Cloud. I did this on the top list window, so because I did that, it's already selected. I'll just find the other one. It's right here. So I'm going to hit Save. Now I've got those two windows saved in this cloud link right here, which allows me to pull them back up at any time in the future very easily, but also the ability to share it. So I'm going to copy this here, and I'm going to paste it into the webinar chat, if I can figure out how to do that. So I hope you guys can copy out of that. If not, please make a comment here to let us know that you can't copy out of the webinar chat, and if that's the case, we'll just include it in the email to everybody. But that link right there is loaded up, so anybody that has Trade Ideas Pro would then go to their toolbar up at the top here, go to Load from Cloud, and they would paste that link right here in the bottom. Because it was in my clipboard, it's already right there populated, and then if I hit load, it's going to load two more windows just like that. So let's close these guys out, show you the right way. Load from cloud. I've got it right here, but I could also load it here, and those are the two windows. Now I didn't even really take the time that I wanted to with respect to coloring this, and I did a whole other webinar on that, coloring the windows, but there's a lot you can do to make the data stand out as well. Bruce, so you had something that I wanted to address as well, and it really wasn't on my original agenda, but this is the type of environment that allows us to kind of demonstrate stuff and be interactive like that. So I'm just going to do a quick little odds maker demonstration, and the odds maker, well, you don't know, the odds maker is an event-based backtesting tool. It's a lot different than what most people traditionally think of backtesting. Most people think of backtesting of taking a single symbol like Microsoft and bringing in 10 years of data and figuring out how to trade Microsoft, backtesting a particular strategy and a symbol and trying to figure it out in that way. Well, we've done something a little bit different, and we take a strategy that you create and then hypothesize over the course of up to 65 trading days, so up to a quarter of data, had a signal been generated and you were to act on that signal, how would you have done? And it really gives you a variety of different metrics at the end of that analysis that allow you to decide whether the strategy that you're employing is something that's viable or not. So I'm going to go to my cloud right here, and I'm going to load a strategy that I'm just going to load a strategy here that's been in my cloud since, hasn't been modified since November 3rd. So I'll load that up, and this is just, I call it mean reversion. It's just looking for a strong down move over a short period of time, something a lot stronger and larger than normal, which is why this event is going to occur. And I'm going to say that if I buy it at that point, and lucky enough to get that price point, then I think it'll rebound and spring back. So that's the whole concept of the strategy. If I dive into it, I've got these alerts, or I've got one alert and a variety of different filters that make up the strategy. These are the parameters that I put in place. But if I just right-click and select Run the Odds Maker, this window that pops up allows me to tell it when to run. When am I going to possibly initiate a trade? I'm going to avoid the first 5 minutes of the market on this strategy. I'm also going to avoid the last 1 hour, so I cannot place a trade or initiate a trade during those time periods. I'm also saying I'm going to hypothetically hold this trade for 45 minutes. I'm going to put a protective stop on there of 50 cents, so I don't want to lose more than 50 cents. If it goes against me more than that, get me out. That's going to be my max loser. And this is a long strategy, so I'm going to simulate a buy. So now it's going to go back, and it's taking this strategy that I created and said if you were to buy this instance of this alert and hold it for 45 minutes, every single time something triggered, how would you have done? And it presents me with a variety of different metrics graphical and numerical. So the first thing that I'm looking at is like a profit factor, and that's a ratio that tells me what's the sum total of all my winning trades over losing trades. This data set over the 3-month period had 317 trades, of which 62% were winning trades. And this had a good more than 2-to-1 ratio here of winner to loser. $1.04 average winner, 47 cents average loser. Those are the kind of metrics that you'd like in a strategy. Gives you your return on it. The buying power that would be required to implement a strategy like this. And then you have a variety of other metrics that you can massage, like, for every time a trade is initiated, are you going to do it on a share quantity? Maybe you're going to trade 200 shares per trade. Well, if I was trading 200 shares per trade and I started with 100,000, I wouldn't be able to afford to implement every trade in this strategy. I'd need $1 million, and with 4-to-1, the best I could get would be 400,000. So, you could say, all right, well, what if I was doing 100 shares? Maybe you could do that. Then you can go to dollar value, and you could say maybe $5,000. Now you could do it. Another thing that I didn't put on here, on the original one, is I didn't have a maximum price on it. So let me give you some of the other data points that it's showing us. So the equity curve gives us our net total, but it also gives us our gross, and it includes commission and slippage. So as I start to massage these numbers, and if I was to move slippage down, which is essentially, let's say a stock triggered at $68 and I'm not able to get in till $68.04. That's the kind of modeling that we allow you to do with slippage. But as I move that number around, you can see how graphically that affects your bottom line, literally your bottom line. And we do the same thing if you were to change your commission, go from $5 to say $8 commission. How does that look on your bottom line? Then we give you a graphical calendar. What does it look like on every trading day? And you can click and drill down into any particular day and see what are the symbols that you would have traded, the entry price, the entry time, and where you would have got out, how many shares you would have traded to make up that dollar value. What was this, $5,000 that we're doing? So we also give you a larger calendar to move around in, to really drill into. Same drill down, looking at the various days that you trade. The most powerful part of the odds maker, though, and I'll kind of be done here after this part, is the ability to optimize the strategy once you've created it. You can optimize it on a variety of different data points. So price being one of them. So in this particular case, let me break this down into $5 buckets, and you can see kind of the breakdown of each bucket. How did I do? How was my win percentage, profit factor? What was my average gain, the total gain, the number of trades? So all those data points are right there for you. We do that on time. So what time was successful for you? What time wasn't successful for you? Remember, this is an optimized strategy. I knew not to trade the first 5. I knew not to trade the last hour. And I've done a whole lot of optimization back in the day when this thing was created. But the most powerful part of it is the ability to drill into any of our filters and then look at how those filters impact the overall success of that strategy. So like an interesting one could be maybe, let's say, change in 120 minutes. And you look at that and you say, okay, well, if a stock is down, I mean, this, again, it's been optimized, so I can only say so much about the filter part here, but what this is telling me is that anytime, and it only happened once, but when the stock was down over 12% over 120 minutes, this was something that was not a winning strategy. But again, I can't really go into each individual filter here because they've all really been optimized. But the net is that you can go into it and really break down every filter into its various data points and buckets and see where the success ratios lie. So that was a little bit on the odds maker there. I hope that was helpful for you, Bruce, and everybody else. So let me do this out. I want to show a little bit about linking. We link with about 95% of the products that are out there, whether you're talking brokerage tools, charting tools. This happens to be Realtic over on the right. But I want to show you how to link to this and to some other ones, and then I'll show you some of our web linking that we do. So I'm going to open up our external linking window. I've already got it linked. I'm going to delete it, so that when everybody opens up their external linking, it looks like this, and it's blank. Now, every program, it's not necessarily black and white. There are a variety of different nuances that exist with linking to third-party applications in different operating systems. So there are a variety of different variables. This is the way that it works mostly. What you do is you hit Add Link, and then this window comes up right here. I'm going to move my mouse over to the window that I want to link, and I'm going to press the Shift key and release it. That basically activated this window to my Realtic window. Now, if I select Realtic here because it's going to populate the proper use of the checkboxes here. Alternate method is really the only thing that needs to be selected. Sometimes also there's some symbol rules. For instance, if you go to Sierra charts and you're trading Canadian stocks, they may have a different suffix than we do. And so through the use of this rule base here, not only does it pre-populate the checkboxes, but it'll also coordinate the symbology, if you will. So the symbols are much better linked to each other in a different platform. So let's select Realtic like I did, hit OK, and then you can just close this window. And once you do that, it's just a one-time setup when you open either of the applications. But then you can just click on a symbol and it'll update your chart really quickly. And if you go to the options section up at the top, I like to have it set up to be click on alert. That way you just need to select it one time and it'll update the chart for you. So just one click and it updates. One click and it updates. And this works for most of the applications out there. Let me show you another one, so a free one that's out there. So we'll do it to freestockcharts.com. But I can't do it in Chrome, I forgot, so we'll do it in Firefox. And linking with this tool is also very easy, and it's free, so some people like that. Go to Tools, External Linking. Now I could be linked to Realtic and to another platform here. So now I can update my Realtic, I can update freestockcharts.com. And then another thing that we have that also most people don't know about, let's go to Tools, Options, and now instead of the send symbol to external linking, which is what most people have and have probably never changed it, I'm going to select Web right here. So now I'm going to click on a symbol. Of course, I'm using the latest development version, and I think there's a little bit of a bug there. Okay, well, I've been stymied. This will give me an opportunity to show even better charts, which are going to be the trade ideas charts. And the trade ideas charts are fantastic because they're going to be very, very simple, very basic, but very, very dynamic in nature. And we're going to be able to superimpose data points on these charts as it pertains to signals that may have been generated in your alert windows. So if I was to go history and select the history for today, oh, I need to go back here. Tools, Options, External Linking, Save. Let me close Free Stock Charts, get rid of that. I may have to shut down and restart. There may be no recovering from where I am. Let me do that real quick. It really is. It's almost a painless feature to do that, unless, of course, you're absolutely in the middle of a trade, but happens real quick. So I was going to run a history here. And go back a little bit. I'm going to go back a little bit further. Notice the annotation on whichever candle it was that made that signal. Let me turn it to a 5-minute chart. Turn it to a 1-minute chart. So you can just identify where the signals are present. And you're able to have multiple charts open, or you will be able to duplicate the chart just like you're able to duplicate the other trade ideas windows and have a variety of different time frames simultaneously going. So we're super excited about that. My entire dev team is off right now completing a very large integration project with eSignal. That should be done very, very soon. And as soon as we've completed that, we're moving into finishing off the charting. So that is the next priority of our team. Last thing I want to show you guys is the ability, and it's not available in your application right now. You're going to need to shoot me an email if it's something that you're interested in having added to your Trade Ideas application, but that's the ability to send real-time signals right to an Excel spreadsheet. And it's really, really simple to do. Once it's enabled in your account, all you do is you right-click inside of an alert window and you select the alert logging enabled. And as soon as symbols start to come in, they're going to be dumped into a file that's in your My Documents folder. So let me show you where that is. My Documents, there's a Trade Ideas folder inside of My Documents. And if you sort it, it's going to be right here up at the top. Well, there's my exception. I'll have my team take a look at that. But here's the alert log. And it's not for the one that's been generated because I don't think anything is populated into that window. But as soon as a symbol is populated, a file like this then gets created. And every time a symbol is added to it, to the alert window, it's added to the CSV file. And depending upon which columns you have in the alert window, those are the columns that are going to be visible inside of the CSV spreadsheet. So for me, that's the agenda that I had today, and I think that we'll kind of move right into some of the questions and be a little bit more interactive and see if there's anything that's unanswered. So I'm going to turn my attention to some of the questions. While I do that, I'm going to bring Scott back to talk a little bit about the specials again, and it'll give me a chance to kind of peruse some of the questions.
Thanks, Brad. I wasn't too slow with the unmuting this time. Hey, really quick, Brad, can you remind me if the stock ticker auto trading is for Interactive Brokers, or is that for another, or is that for Sterling?
It works for Interactive Brokers. Okay. It also works for Sterling. The one thing, the caveat to that is they're not continuing to do additional development to it. So when people want additional order types, those are not going to be available.
So our best option for auto trading is Lightspeed, right?
Yeah, with Lightspeed we have our latest technology. It's our Brokerage Plus application, and it's totally state-of-the-art. It gives you graphical P&L. It gives you rapid order entry buttons. But most importantly, the ability to automate any strategy. So when a symbol is generated inside of an alert window that you've got set up and ready to go, it's going to automatically buy it in your Lightspeed account and manage it for you based upon the parameters that you initially set up: the hold time, the profit stop, or the profit target, or a stop loss. Cool. Or you could gray box it, and you could use Trade Ideas to initiate it and have yourself manage it and get out of it.
Okay, good, because someone was asking about that, and I was typing up an answer for them and sent it out. So if anyone wants more information about automatic trading, please shoot us an email at info@tradeideas.com, and we will answer all your questions for you. So I see the slides back up about these subscription specials. I want to remind everyone that that's available until Friday for the 30% off. You can go ahead and get started with us right away and then sign up for our training. The code is QAwebinar15, that's all caps. And we also have that excellent $8.99 deal. It really can't be beat. You get the full year of Trade Ideas and a lifetime odds maker subscription and a custom strategy developed for you using RAI. And that's only $8.99. And go to the next slide, Brad. That link is bit.ly/899saver. And remember, it's like $2.46 a day. Starbucks is about that with tax for a regular medium coffee. It's a great deal.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks, Brad.
All right, so let's see here. Leon, with respect to the ping time, let me show you here. So what do I have? I'm virtually right next to the server farm, 10 milliseconds. You say you're running between 30 and 100. I mean, that's 1/10 of a second, and human reaction time is actually a little bit more than that, so you are incredibly fine. Honestly, if you keep this thing under 500, then you're within perception time. If you keep it under a second, it's still very, very fine. So if it's under 1,000, you're okay. So Jim, you had made a question with respect to alternate method. Now, alternate method, I don't really have a way of explaining it other than there's so many nuances to linking two applications with each other, especially when version changes happen and operating system changes happen. The alternate method is just a way that we found to get certain applications to link properly. So we started this all by trial and error, and with the use of those two checkboxes in the drop-down for rules, we've managed to really nail this 99% of the time. So I hope that answers that vague answer to your question. Our charts will have basic indicators to start with. Of course, it'll be improved as time goes on, but don't expect to find 100 different indicators on our charts. You're going to find indicators that are available inside of the Trade Ideas platform. Like definitely you're going to find the different SMAs and moving averages that we allow you to filter on visible inside of the tool, but it's not going to be one of those, it's not e-signal, and it shouldn't be construed as such. We're an idea generation firm, and that's our prowess, and that's where we really focus our energy. We know that the visualization of this data is super important, but there are people that have been in the game in that area far longer than we have. So our core competency is the alert and scanning. The charting will definitely be an ancillary benefit to it. But if you are a super user and you do require those other indicators and robustness of a platform like eSignal or like Realtek, it may not be your choice. So it's completely up to you on that one. Yeah, you're going to be able to draw on the chart, Bruce. You're going to be able to annotate as well. It's going to be free with the subscription. We're not going to add a price point to it. Now, it's very possible we will be raising our rates, but we don't raise our rates for existing subscribers. And we always allow our subscribers to pay as far in the future as they'd like, with the fee that's currently, the price point that's currently in use. Yeah, Caesar, it's funny. I mean, well, it's not funny, but we've had the version of TD Ameritrade bot running for a long, long time. I don't see us going back into that particular bot to do modifications. It's possible we would modify the Lightspeed bot to do that, but we would be looking for some type of relationship with TDA a little more than what's currently in place for us to embark upon that development process.
And if there's any other TA or TD Ameritrade users out there that want this, email them and ask them for it. That's one way to get their attention.
So Ashraf, you asked a question about slippage as it pertains to the odds maker, and that field that you have the ability to manipulate, that is looking at both sides. So if you have a value of 5 cents in your slippage, that's 5 cents in and 5 cents out. So it's 10 full cents of slippage. I hope that answered it for you. Anything else, guys? The flow of questions has slowed a bit. Well, we're here all the time. Hold on, I got one from Bruce here. Well, Bruce, I think that the real statement about, or the only way I'd respond to that, where Trade Ideas is a fine product but encourages emotional trading. I think at the end of the day, Trade Ideas is not going to make a bad trader a good trader. We're providing ideas. We're only as good as you are. You're the trader, and a good trader can take an idea and make money off it, whereas a bad trader can take the very same idea and not make money off of it. Next question from Farid. Can we run the application on Linux, Mac OS? Presently not. We don't have an application form for it. You did mention, we can use the web platform. We do have a new web version that will be arriving shortly after our integration is complete with eSignal. It's going to be a super integration, much different than the current web product. And even though the web product currently allows for free-floating windows, this new one is going to be much more robust. It's going to have all of the window types and really all of the functionality that's present in TI Pro. So I suspect that utilizing the new web version of our product, you would be very, very happy with it. But I do not have plans right now of making a Mac version of an application. Anything else? Well, RT, I'm sorry, I see a question here regarding options capabilities. Let me drill right into our options channel. It probably gives me the quickest and easiest way to demonstrate the filters that I have that allow you to get alerts and ideas using options data. So I'm going to right-click in a window right here, and I'm going to go to search, and I'm going to type in options. My fat fingers, options. So these are the 6 different filters that we allow you to use to not only display as columns, but to filter upon. And really the best filter that we have is the options volume to date filter on a percentage basis, because very much like our relative volume filter that's looking at stock volume, this here is looking at options volume, but knowing what's normal options behavior. And so when a stock is starting to trade inordinate options volume, this is the type of filter that would identify it. And so these 6 windows that we put together really utilize those filters in one capacity or another to deliver these ideas to you. But of course you can include the options filters with any of our alerts, any of our alerting setups to combine the two together to make sure that if something is, say, making a 52-week high, that it's doing so on 2 times its normal options volume, something like that. Thank you, Leon. I appreciate the compliment. It's always appreciative. Well, yeah, for unusual options activity is really what we're tracking here in this upper window. So as you're looking at this upper window, this one column that I have on the far right, which is my options volume today, on a percentage basis, is comparing the volume to normal volume. So a value of 100 would be normal here. So a value of 5,700 is huge, tremendous amount of options being traded today. And right now we do not have anything specific to specific strikes. So we're just looking at the underlying root equity. All right, guys, thank you very much for your time. We're an hour in. Good luck in your trading. Reach out to us. Our
Brad, go ahead and put the card, the last slide from the presentation up so everyone can see the contact info. If we weren't able to get to any of your some of your questions, please email Brad or email info@tradeIdeas.com. Follow us on Facebook. Give us a like. Follow us on Twitter. We installed a new chat software on our web pages and the account management section, so if you have any questions, you can click on the orange panel or the gray chat box in the lower right-hand side of your screen and just type a question if we're around during market hours and afterwards. So just go ahead and hit us up with a question if you'd like. Thanks for attending, everyone.
Thanks. Have a good night, guys.